Thank you, Pete. Now, now we're going to ask a question. I wonder what it would be. Let's see. Okay, how did you end up in Co-op City? And what was your journey to become a shareholder yourself? We're going to start with Andrea Leslie. We're skipping over. I think it will work out nicely this way. Andrea, take it away.
I lived in the South Bronx. My mom moved first to Co-op City, then my friends moved to Co-op City, and then I decided that instead of living with my mom, I should own my own. That's what I did, and I've been here ever since.
Terrific. Now, you have a minute and a half to answer. You don't have to use it all up. And if you're done,
Okay,
thank you for being terse.
while I've been here, I've worked for the city of New York for over 30 odd years, and I'm on the board as a member. I'm not sure, at the board, I've worked in social services, so I've always thought I needed to be part of the community, part of helping people, and so that's what I've done since I've been here. I started to become part of organizations and being active even before I was on the board, and I continue to do so, even though I'm on the board, I still find time to be part of other organizations here. And I encourage other shareholders to do just that, because that's what we need to be able to be back to the back years that I keep hearing people talk about.
Thank you, Andrew. You're about to put it on a minute and a half. That's why we're cutting you off before the right one. And now, Dahlia, how did you, no, we're not skipping, just for the first person who answers first, we skip. And then we go right in a row and back to the, okay? I'm sorry, I make things too hard. Ask anybody. If it's easy, I make it difficult. But this way, I think everyone will get a better chance. Idalia, we're starting a minute and a half.
Can we have some help here, please?
Compared to the last month, this is very good.
Let me take a few moments to tell you, never mind.
Now, we're going to ask Idalia to tell us, how did you land in Co-op City, and how did you get to be a shareholder?
I grew up on the Lower East Side, and then I moved out to Queens for a little bit, and then someone told me about Boston. I knew nothing about the Bronx, and I said, I don't even want to live that far. I took my chances, I got called, and I was living, everybody told me not to go to Section 5. And of course, I said, well, that's where I'm going. I ended up in Building 33 for 21 years. I've met a lot of nice people. I wanted to be involved with the association, so I became very involved. Then I decided to move to a bigger apartment on 28A, and I ended up being the building president. I got more involved. Then I met some really wonderful people, and I've just been on a roll from there, joining in the, being a member of the NAACP, Spanish American. I've learned that this community is a big community that really cares. You just gotta reach out to the people, and I am proud, very proud to be part of Co-op City. I am. So, funny story, when I was a teenager, my first experience with Co-op City was in house party. Needless to say that as a flourishing 13, 14-year-old, Co-op City was a maze to me. So I was like, never again, never again, never again. Every building looks the same. Now let's fast forward. So we have to work with a professional, a mom growing her family. There were certain values that Co-op City offered that I could not appreciate in my younger years. Now that I am a mom, it was on a whim that I had met an individual that was currently raised in Section 5. He knew that I was exploring a family, I wanted a better quality of life for them, did not want to remain in the concrete jungle of Harlem. That's where my application was submitted. Those 3 years went by very, very fast. I am here now for 7 years, like I stated in my opening statement. This is a beautiful place. I've also grown my family here as well, so with the participating in the pre-open community events. So I'm eager to offer my expertise and skill sets to see how we can further strengthen our bond as a community, making family first, and then some financial improvements.
Thank you, Leonida. And now, Aaron, how did you end up in Co-op City? And how did you end up being a shareholder?
So that's actually, as I stated in my opening, I was born and raised here. I grew up in
You're done.
I was grew up in Building 29, and then went to college, came back, and decided that I could have moved to DC with some family, but I decided since Co-op City is the best deal in the city of New York, that I would also apply and get my own apartment, and I did about 10, 12 years ago now. And I ended up moving to Building 27, so I stayed in Section 5. So that's how I became, I guess, my own shareholder.
Thank you, Aaron. And now, Lynette Wright.
So similar to Aaron, a little bit similar to Aaron, I didn't come here upon birth, but I did come here at 2 years old. In Section 5, as well as in Building 34. Similarly, went to college, went away, also did the Peace Corps. Obviously, every time I came back home. And so when it came time to pay some student loans and seriously think about you need some money, I had decided, okay, well, I need to find somewhere to live because the apartments are only built so big. I'm living with my parents, and just as an adult, I needed my own space. And potentially from what you heard in my opening statement, I'm very much about the numbers, if it makes sense. So I sat down, did a budget. I said, what can I afford? What can I spend on housing? What can I do? What do I want to do? All of that. And I compared, what did I really also want out of where I was living? And here had everything I already needed. I just needed my own space. So it was an area that was affordable. It was an area, unlike other communities, that actually has community. Like I know at least, of course, a few that are in this room. I know that you've also seen me as well. And that's something rare. That's something that the rest of the city kind of wants to develop, and we already have it here. So when I had a choice of being able to live somewhere else, be separated on my own by myself, and paying astronomical bills versus living here with community and at an affordable price, I chose to stay here, and I became a shareholder.
Thank you, Lynette. And now, tell us your story, Nero.
Well,
Nero Brown.
thank you. Well, believe it or not, about 28 years with the fire department, EMS, and I saw this community in fact not built. So I was in the Bronx for quite a while, from one side to the other. Then after 28 years of retirement, I decided to take the offer of becoming the commissioner for the Board of Election for the Bronx. And I still got to learn more about Port City because I had to come visit Port City like everybody else did. So just by doing that and looking at it, I found some beautiful people, happen to be residents, shareholders also, in this beautiful city of Port City. And I moved here, I found my way here, I became a shareholder, and I invested, and I'm not going no place. I'm gonna be here until they take me out. Not Port City, but my Thank you.
Thank you, Nero. Darnell Lopez.
Yes.
Do I need to repeat the question?
No, you don't. So my family moved here when I was 6 years old. We moved from 7th Avenue in the Bronx. And it was a better life for us to be here. My grandmother wanted to raise me far different than my mother and the rest of them. family. It was always a safe place, so I always enjoyed it, especially when I visited my other family outside, because you see the vast difference between this neighborhood and other neighborhoods. So once I went to college, of course, I spent time outside. I lived in other states and wanted to have my own freedom and independence. But when it was time to come back to look after my family and figure out exactly where I wanted to live, I lived in different places inside of the Bronx, and I understood that Co-op City was one of the best places to live, not based on just economics and what the carrying charges would be, but the community as it is. It's a very safe place. We all can agree on that, regardless of what we find unhappy about it. But, you know, it was just a place I wanted to come back, be a shareholder, and make a difference in the place I grew up. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And now Keith Logan.
So my journey was, I was newly married and I was living in Parkchester. We had one child, and we were having ceiling problems where Parkchester's roofs just got renovated not too long ago, because they were leaking. So as me being a painter, I would come home every day and see that there was water dripping, and I was continuing to have like issues in my bedroom ceiling, which was driving me crazy. So we had to leave. And at the time, I wasn't working here at the time because I worked here on more than one occasion. I thought about where should we go? And the answer was right in front of me the whole time, the place where I worked, the place where I started my career. So we came into co-op for about 2014, 15, moved into building 21, and as our family grew, we moved in, we put in a transfer and moved into the townhouse right down the block. So that's my story.
Thank you, Keith. Michelle. Michelle Logan.
Thank you. It's such a great question. I've been here since I'm 11 years old. Thankful to my mother and father for making the best decision of our years growing up. 1971, we moved here from the tenements of the South Bronx, and engagement has always been part of our growing up, part of the culture here in Co-op City, and part of us being raised here in Co-op City. You know, my mother would attend a building association meeting, and we would go with her, and we would visit other churches. Even though we're African Methodist Episcopal, we would go to the Catholic Church, St. Michael's, and you know, and we were friends with different families of different ethnicities. And so all of that is just like this wonderful melting pot, you know, of this opportunity and engagement and community and a place to ride my bike. You know, coming from the tenements, you know, it was safe at that time, but it was changing. And Co-op City had all these great spaces and everything, and it was like, wow, I love this. And they have my own room with a view, and that's how I got to Co-op City.
Thank you, Michelle. And now, Monique Coleman.
So I came, like many, as a young person, but not quite as young as everybody else. When I was away at college, my mother moved here and married my stepfather. And so when I graduated from college, I grew up in Brooklyn, and I was accustomed to being, I grew up in a brownstone, on a block of brownstones with the families. You know, you knew not to do anything in front of anybody on the block because they would tell, you know, because I definitely came from a neighborhood where, you know, the village raised us. So when I graduated from college, I came to Co-op City because I had nowhere else to live. And my mom was here. And very shortly thereafter, my mom decided to move out. And so I took over the apartment. So I succeeded the apartment. And my children were born in the apartment. Co-op City has been so good to us because I probably didn't even understand what the word affordability meant, back in those days, but learned very quickly that I could raise a family here. I have 2 boys, and Co-op City is 320 acres, mostly green space. They grew up outside playing. There were playgrounds everywhere when my kids were little. I always thought we'd leave, and they grew up, they moved out, and my time's up. I'm still here. I'm retired, and I didn't go.
There will be a meet and greet following the forum portion, and you can hear the end of Monique's tale. Thank you, Monique, and now Andrew. Oh, I'm sorry, you started it. You can't say it again. Okay, who's up for the next? We have Yanira. Jaime is going to answer this next question as soon as I figure out what it is. Okay. Now remember, this is the portion getting to know or know more about the candidates. It's the friendlier kind of thing. Everybody's figured it out. Thank you. Co-op City is fabulous. I bet no one on this panel is going to say otherwise. But if you were pressed to pick one thing that irks you, your pet peeve about Co-op City, and you end up in a position to do something about it, what would you fix? Starting with the
Oh, this is a huge pet peeve of mine. It's been the bane of my existence since sorry. Okay.
She's thinking.
I'm not. So my biggest pet peeve, I think, would be the leaky pipes, the plumbing. Yes. I have a perpetual leak every year, so that's been my pain point. I've seen a lot of huge capital improvements. It's one that I've also asked around, hey, when does anyone plan on addressing the leaky pipes? How do we fix this? The repair process of waiting and letting the concrete dry is a little cumbersome. As board of director, I think I'm not the only one with that problem, I believe, especially in my mind, so I suspect others may be having the same issues. But that's definitely a pet peeve. In a perfect world, and if I had a magic wand, that would be the first capital improvement project.
Thank you, Yanira. And now Alan Carnegie. What would you fix if you had a chance?
If I had the opportunity, I believe one of the major things that I would try to fix is the customer service of interacting both with everyone from the maintenance to restoration. A lot of people complain about when you get someone in your apartment and there's something to be fixed, or if you call the call center, you wait 500 years to actually get to pick someone to pick up. That's a customer service issue. And I believe if we could fix that, there's a trickle-down effect that could happen where it ends up fixing other issues that you have. Like if you have workers in your house who show respect to your apartment, who treat you respectfully, even if there's a mistake, you're not going to be as upset because they treated you right. They treated you like a shareholder, because that's what you are. You are an owner of a corporation. You're not just some tenant here. So I believe the first thing, if I could have the opportunity, I would fix would be the customer service of the staff of the bank. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. And with that, what would you go after? Yes.
Okay, I don't know if go after the right way, but you correct, sure.
What would you continue?
I would, I think similar to what Aaron is talking about, it is the communication that we have, but it's also what Aaron had said of how we get work done. So it takes a lot of time to be able, I know everybody has had an issue with you gotta call in, you're on the phone for several minutes, sometimes hours, sometimes you disconnect, so on and so forth. So even if you have something wrong, it doesn't necessarily get fixed in an efficient amount of time. We don't also get updates on the work orders that we have. If there are delays, so on and so forth, they just sometimes, a lot of times, my clients get very lost in the system. So there needs to be more communication. I'm very happy that at least so far, and I believe I've been pushing in the next budget, and working with the deputy director, to be able to get the people who do have the ability to do things online, do things themselves, and do it more self-service, that we are getting hopefully a program to be able to do that, and a working app to be able to do that. And the executive general manager has been extremely supportive of that. I do think that that will take some stress off of the call center, that you're having all of these drop calls, because we just looked at the report, was it last week or the week before, it's at 30%, and that is absolutely insane that you have almost 1/3 of the calls that you have are not getting resolved at all and not getting picked up, or people are hanging up because they're frustrated. So we need to be able to do that to solve some of these issues that we've got.
Thank you, Lydia. And now Mira Brown, your pet peeve?
Yes, my pet peeve will be Fort City Police Department. If I had the authority, the power, the magic wand to wave, when I'm learning that officers going to the academy within Fort City, they get out, then they still may have to wait up until 2 years before they become a pledged police officer. That meant waiting at one police plaza for license. Now, we have over 15,000 apartments. You can imagine this is a city village alone itself. And it's larger than Riverdale, and it's so larger than wherever you want to divide the city. My thing is this: it's a disgrace for any officer to have to go within the training of the academy here. Then they have to wait 2 years or more, or better than that, they leave before the 2 years because they can go outside and get the license in other organizations. I will fix it. I will work with elected officials because something went wrong as many years as Fort City Police Department been here. As elected officials, somebody should have done something. Save what we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mira. Darnell Lopez, your pet peeve?
One thing I definitely would like to fix is we definitely have an ultimate need for a youth center. If you look around all of New York City, even the worst communities have a youth center. We need to have a place where our young children can go on a weekly basis to just do different things. And I'm not limiting that just to athletics. We have a situation where we can create a pathway to create entrepreneurial, different things here. We have so many retired people, plumbers, electricians, IT people. We could create a pathway to show our children how to develop skills to be more than prepared for the real world when it's their time to go out there. Not to forget, we also have Riverbay. They need different workers, just like my colleague Chief Logan is a painter. There are ways we can show these children how to paint. Give them internships, electricians, plumbers, just like what Yanira said for the pipes. So we're in a situation where we have some gold here. We just need to melt it down and put it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Darnell. Keith Logan.
Mine would be a combination of two things. One, unfunded mandates that we get, like local laws to scaffolding and one of the energy laws that's coming down the pipeline. We get these mandates and we don't get the funds to carry out what needs to be done. So I feel like we need to work with our local officials to get the funds to be able to keep this place sustainable. Another one of my pet peeves is cooperative engagement. We have cooperatives that complain but is not a part of fixing the problem. You can't complain if you're not willing to do anything about it. That's why I hope that we have a swift and fast campaign where the cooperatives are engaged and they're looking at the forums and they're able to vote, and this doesn't carry on until September, October. So that's my pet peeve. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Michelle?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to pick up where my colleague Keith Logan left off and wave a wand over everything that was said on this panel, and that is respect. Respect in the everyday details of how we share this space. This is an excerpt of a viewpoint that I wrote about a month ago. From how we care for our pets to the etiquette we practice in our laundry rooms, these moments matter more than we often acknowledge. They are not small things. They are daily reflections of who we are as a community and what we are willing to accept from one another. How we present ourselves, both in business and in life here on this campus we call Co-op City, sets the tone for how we will be treated. When we raise our standards in the small things, we elevate the entire experience of living here. When we take pride in our shared spaces, we reinforce the values that make this community strong. So my pet peeve is let's start with each other. Let's start with respecting each other and what this community means, and we'll take it to the boardroom. We're working on that every day, even to the mandates that everything everybody was saying here is being worked on. Some things take time.
Thank you, Michelle. Maurice?
So many good ideas. The one that I wrote down, Idalia and I were talking about when we were in the hallway, that one of the issues is families that own pets that do not take care of them. So, being here 40 years, I remember when there were no dogs. Of course, we've had to, update our rules to allow people with comfort animals, but not everyone takes care of them. And, this goes back to shareholder engagement and working together cooperatively. We all live here, we're all neighbors, so it would be nice if the families who have pets cleaned up after them so that we could all live comfortably and not worry about bringing any unwanted things from outside inside our environment.
Way to take pet peeve perfectly.
Exactly.
And, Andrew Leslie.
My pet peeve is this community center. I've been here a number of times, and the Baptist church that's downstairs experiences a lot of leaks. And I've spoken with management, and we're supposed to actually repair the work that needs to be done is exterior so that they don't continue to have leaks. And it would seem as though we speak to them, we're gonna correct it, but it's never in the budget to totally fix what needs to be done. And I think finally, we really need to do that. We have shareholders, we have commercial space, and the churches are not commercial space, but they're renting a space and they should be able to utilize their space without any major inconvenience. And this has been going on for years, actually. And it would seem that, you make a promise that it's going to be done, but if it's not in the budget, there's very little that you can do. But they've been experiencing that for a long time, and we need to actually prioritize it to get it done. That's my favorite.
Thank you, Andrew. And the last question of this question is Idalia Reyes.
My pet peeve is, honestly, is the shareholder involvement. I've been the league president, and I hear a lot of complaints, a lot of suggestions, but it's left up to me to go get the answer. So I really need to have people be more together in unity. We have a lot of issues that we can take care of, but if they don't hear our voices, we gotta come to the board meetings, we gotta show up. Because, you're telling one person, I can't represent everybody, we need voices to be heard. So we bring those questions and those issues that we have at the cross center, that obviously it's a work in progress. We need to really show up to the board meetings. I see like a quorum, we don't get to quorum, it's so big. Why aren't people voting? If you feel so seriously about what is going on, then represent your unit. Because then things don't change, you cannot complain if you don't show up. And that's why I took it upon myself to be involved. You know why? Because I was a concern. But you know what? If you don't show up, things don't, you can't expect somebody else to do it. More voices are heard in the unit.
Thank you, Regina. And now the next question will be first answered by Lynette Wright. And I'm afraid that some people are going to take this next question to reinforce the last question, because this one says, we have a lot of essential things we have to spend money on. What would be your pet project that is not one of the mandatory things that we need, not the essential things that we must do with our money? If there was one thing that you would like to see happen, and you were in the position to perhaps add your voice to make it happen, what would that be, Lynette Wright?
So I think if we could only do one based on, I don't know what we talked about before, it's really hard to choose because there's so many things to put money towards and to spend effort on. I do really think that if I had to spend money on anything, it would probably be more money that needs to go towards the power plant. And the reason why I'm mentioning that specifically is because the power plant controls a lot of what we do. I know we don't feel the air conditioning in here because there is none, but it's the reason why we have an air cooling season and not an air conditioning season. It's the reason sometimes why there are carrying charge increases, because there's money that we're expecting, and because we haven't invested in infrastructure, we're offline. So we don't get that money. There wants to be deficits in the budget. It's the same reason why when we complain, we have those complaints of, hey, there's no heating, or the same thing that happened earlier today, where we were supposed to get a shut off and we didn't. It irritates people, it controls people, to think why we have to have the hot water shut off sometimes. Those are all power plant issues. And so I think putting more money and emphasis into that is somewhere where we need to go, because yes, it benefits our comfort levels, but it also benefits us financially to be able to invest. If you have money, you need to be able to put it into things that are going to make you money. And the power plant is part of that.
Thank you, Lynette. And you're Brown. What would you spend frivolous money on?
I love that. First, I have to find out what the money could be spent for. Because when you get money and receive money, there's restrictions. What you can do, can't do. If I had unrestricted funds of monies, there's so many things I would do for the senior citizens here to help us. Thank you, because I can go on.
You just ain't saying. Thank you, Lynette. Donna Lopez.
So building upon the last question, like I said, I would definitely want to create a youth center. Now, I want everyone to think of it like this. We would work in collaboration with Riverbay. Now, Riverbay has employees. We can teach our children how to get into management. There's different sectors of management that some of us know, some of us don't know. We give our children a chance to learn that, to understand what works for them and their skills. We also have tradesmen. We have plumbers. We have painters. We have porters. So they will learn essentially construction. Not to forget, we can create a conduit for the police department, whereas young children can. If they want to go into law enforcement, there's an easier path for them outside of looking at NYPD and different things like that. Not to forget athletics. You know, a lot of our kids want to play sports. We can give them a great chance to either sell at that or figure out that that may not be the best thing for them. We have a sea of retired individuals here, engineers, different avenues of everything that will They can volunteer their time to teach our youth. And, you know, I just think that would be the best for the future of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Keep working.
So I know this is a hypothetical question, but this is something, well, I leaned over to my colleague Darnell and told him, this one is right up your alley, you're gonna dunk this one. And I told him, I'm gonna take it out the net and put it back in. Because the youth center is something that we have the money, we should do, but even if it should be priority. The idle mind is a terrible thing because kids can get into all kind of things. I'm one of those kids. I grew up in Eden projects. I've dealt with gang activity, those kind of things. When you don't have a concentration for kids, they can get into trouble. As older people and seniors, you can complain about kids kind of hanging out outside, but what other alternatives are we giving them to do? This is a very important topic, and this is something that we need to find the money for. Because you show me the condition of children, and you show me the future. Children are the future here at Fort City. So that is a very, very important topic, and we need to find the money. So I wouldn't take it as a hypothetical. If I had the money, we need to find the money and make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Michelle Marbury.
Yes, thank you. And again, my colleague Keith Logan brings up a topic that is very dear to my heart, the youth center and the youth here in Co-op City. While we have worked with our elected officials and been promised over and over again funds for the youth center, hasn't been able to come to fruition yet. But your question was if we just had money just to spend because, you know, in a perfect world, you know, the power plant is working good and everything is running right and we just had extra money, I would love to see money given to our CBOs, our community-based organizations. So while we're waiting for that youth center, we can give the kids more events and fun things to do and to draw their attention to their neighborhood and to their community and get them involved. I'd like to see, you know, junior organizations of each organization. You know, we have the Section 4 partnership. I'd like to see a junior Section 4 partnership. You know, things of that nature. So the youth is really special.
Thank you, Michelle. Monique.
So, I support everyone's frivolous spending on the youth center. I don't think it's frivolous, but I do support that. I won't echo it because everybody has said it. But I will echo some of the remarks about having the power plant, put excess money into the power plant. So we have an aging infrastructure and we have an aging infrastructure, and if money were no object, I would put money into our power plant so that we could be compliant with the energy laws that are coming down the pipe. And I would also put money in to make certain that our power plant was capable of creating the power that we need to sell to Con Ed. It's one of the few other areas that we have where we can generate revenue outside of shareholder carrying charges. So if our power plant is in good repair, you know, we can build power and resell it to Con Ed. We've made millions of dollars with that program when our power plant is in good repair. When it begins to crumble, we can't meet those demands. So that's where I put the money, the power plant.
Thank you, Monique. Andrea Leslie.
Everyone assumes that you're going to be able at all times, and this community is a Newark community, known to be a Newark community. And at one point in time, to climb stairs, and I became disabled at one point in time, and I couldn't climb stairs. And I would frivolously spend my money on an elevator for Bartow. We have got elevators in Chrysler, we have it here in Einstein, but we don't have, we've been talking about that elevator in Bartow forever. I climb up the stairs with struggle, and a lot of other shareholders do, and I think that's what I would spend my money frivolously on.
Thank you. I believe it's good, and it's going to be good.
I keep hearing that.
Okay, I read the resolution in 2018, so. Okay, Evelyn. Now, wait a second, let me just, I don't want to change the rule, because there's always some money that you can, when we have millions of dollars that we work with, 10,000 can bring something beautiful, that people shouldn't complain about 66 cents in the market. The end. Now, go. Sorry, but that is very good at reading rules. Excuse me.
I think everybody had great feedback. In a perfect world, we would have that extra money, right? But we don't. So I would think if we had it, I would do the power. Because our convectors, in the summer is a big complaint, but we don't have the air conditioning fully good. But it's wear and tear. I mean, these buildings are not young. We're over 52, 5 years old. We need to really take care of the power plant, because that is what's going to get us through the next phase of, surviving the heat waves that we have. So that's what I would put my money, is the power plants.
Terrific, thank you. And now you're reading.
Well, at this point, I feel like a broken record, but power plant would be my passion project. One, to alleviate some of the issues that we all experience, right? The lack of AC during the summer months, but most importantly, just to offset some of the rising costs, right? That we could potentially offset by investing in our infrastructure at a power plant level. And then I think that would be the most viable project, only because it is going to give us a return on investment. Right? We are going to be able to generate some money just to offset some of those rising costs that we're currently experiencing. So, passion project, definitely investing in updating the infrastructure. And then hopefully maybe we can tie it into some community effort, right? Some STEM search, if we can generate some local youth to get some interest. That would be awesome as well.
Thank you very much. All right. You're finishing up this question.
Thank you. I'm actually torn because I do believe in the youth center, but for those of you here who live in Section 5, we have a youth center. It's right downstairs. And what many people have brought up about carpentry, about different avenues for the kids to learn, guess what? They do it down there. May not know. They have a podcast to teach them how to podcast. They teach them how to do carpentry. They do OSHA training there. They do all the things that we've mentioned. So we have a youth center. Maybe it's not big enough. That's true. Maybe they don't advertise like they should. 100% true. But we have it. But we need to make it prosperous and make our kids, or promote it so that our kids go in there. Not a lot of kids are going in there. Now, on the second hand, yes, power plant is a great option if we had unlimited funds to give money to. But what I would stipulate is, I think we should use that money for green energy. Local Law 97 is coming as of right now. I do not want to see Local 97 enacted in co-op because it's going to raise our carrying charges. So if we had the money, I would rather prevent carrying charges right now and then promote the youth center as well that we already have here. Thank you.
All right, that finishes up the question of the project. I want you to give me a little laundry list. What skills do you have that translate into being, or about to be being, a great board director. And we're going to start this one with Darnell Lopez.
Sorry, did you repeat the question?
Oh, repeat the question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I just said I want a laundry list. I want you to tell me what skills do you have that will make you a potential or have made you and continue being a great board director. What are your personal skills? Do you have a particular set of skills? What are they?
Well, with my particular set of skills, I'm very personal. I can speak with them and understand it. I'm sorry. Can you turn me up? All right, is this better? All right, I'm sorry. I'll make it quick. I'm very personable. I can speak with anyone. Understand where everyone is coming from and meet on a common ground. That's what we need in this community. We need people who can relate to each other and actually get things done. With my financial background, I've been in areas where I shouldn't have been, and I built upon that and rose to a financial advisor all the way from a banker. So I know how to understand the word no and next opportunity to keep striving. With that, as a board director, you definitely need that. Now, we don't change a lot, we set the policies, but you need strong people who will set positive policies that will help us now and for the future. And with that, I believe that makes me a strong candidate for the board of directors. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Keith, tell us your skills.
Other than being a professional tradesman for about 20 years, that's one. I work well with other people. Even with my time here in Riverbay, as being a paint and plaster foreman, I had to work with almost every department with getting projects done. Working with commercial leasing to get commercial spaces done. Working with the shareholders when they have problems, I would come out to their apartments in person and not deal with it from the office. I came there and it wasn't just for board members, it was for every shareholder that had a problem. If they needed their appointment rescheduled, I didn't make them wait a month. I figured out solutions how if something was still wet, it would get scraped. Next week they would have an appointment. I worked Tuesday to Saturday when I was here, so I made sure that they got Saturday appointments. So I'm very collaborative. My entrepreneurial spirit and my business acumen allows me to think outside the box and not do what's always been done here in co-op. That's one of the reasons why I kind of had to spread my wings, but I'm looking to bring those skills back to co-op on the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Michelle Bond.
You all ready? Okay. Okay, great. My skills, okay. At WOR Radio and WOR Radio Network, I've managed crews of young people who have gone on to work for Bloomberg Radio, WNBC, and many other places that you see. There's some of my trainees that are working in the broadcast industry. That knowledge and those communication skills enable me to communicate with people at their level. It allows me to be a good critical thinker. When you're in the boardroom and you're going over contracts and you're listening to people who may be above your expertise or have a different expertise, it's important that your listening skills and your critical thinking come into play. That's what I bring to the table in board. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Monique.
Monique Coleman here. As a board member, we each get a single vote. And our primary responsibility here is to make policy. But you can go into the boardroom and be very passive or even passionate about an issue, but ultimately our three choices are to vote yes, vote no, or abstain from a vote. Most of the work happens outside of the boardroom, and in addition to being a board member, we're supported by committees The committees are where all of the decisions are massaged and the suggestions and the recommendations are formed before a policy is presented to the board. And there are people who never attend a committee meeting and never do any of that background work. They just show up and they vote, which is valuable, but we also need people who will roll up their sleeves and get in there. So, I like to, you asked for the laundry list. So there are workhorses and there are show horses, and we have some show horses, right? But I am a workhorse, and so that's one of the skills that I bring to the table. I am an insurance professional, I mentioned that before. I'm also very diplomatic, I'm even-tempered. The boardroom is not a place for everybody's opinion, but it's often a place where opinions are aired out. I feel like we need to do our homework in the background and come ready to vote in the background. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Andrea Leslie.
My skill is that of problem solver. I've been a supervisor for the Department of Social Services for almost 20 years. And that job involves making critical decisions every day about our disabled clients as to how they have shelter, if they have food, difficult situations, if they're going to be evicted. And on a daily basis, we have to make a decision as to how we go about doing that, seeking funding, and on a daily basis, we have to do that. And we do that sometimes also because I'm somewhat of a liaison here for shareholders who encounter crisis issues, and that I do on a daily basis at work and sometimes as a board member. I think I'm a very good team player, and we also have to, when we come to making decisions here in the board, make a decision as to whether it's a good thing for Co-op City, bearing in mind how it may affect shareholders. We also have to make a decision as to whether this policy is going to be a good one for Co-op City overall, bearing in mind shareholder that effect we have on shareholders.
Thank you, Andrea. Idalia Reyes.
Okay. With my background of investment banking for over 35 years, I think that's a major skill that I bring to the table. I also, I care about my community. And also, I have a gift that I bring people together. Somehow, the way I speak, the way I talk, I listen to people, I want unity, so I show it. You lead by example, and I am a leader. So that's one of the highlights that I do have. And I'm also relatable. I relate because I live here, I'm a shareholder, and I can relate to the people. And I think that's what makes people comfortable. So if I get on the board, I definitely will bring more numbers in. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanira Hyman.
So some of the critical soft skills that are needed to be successful in this role, I believe, is strategic listening, right? Being able to listen to what the community and your shareholders are actually telling you, but also identifying those root causes, right? It's one thing to just listen, but to actively listen and to ask questions to ensure that you are receiving the intended message. I think also to piggyback off of what the other candidate for re-election, Malik said, is emotional intelligence, right? Boardrooms or boardroom conversations can be very heated. I think it's important to remain even-keeled, unbothered, and to remain structured and poised with the ultimate end goal of one, making a collaborative or consensus decision that's going to ultimately affect the greater good of the community. So I think those are the really important skills. And as a professional in healthcare and IT, those skills I harness every day and develop. So I'm looking forward to bringing that to the board as a new set of eyes and ears.
Thank you, Emil. Aaron, how did you?
Thank you. Skills I bring is basically what I do every day for work. As many of you know, I work for Councilman Kevin Riley, right next door. Many times we have constituents that come in and I have to sit there and listen. I gotta hear when they are going through tough times and try to do my best to help them. Sometimes it's tough, because they're coming to us usually at their lowest point in their lives. So I believe one of the skills you have to have is empathy. You have to understand when you're making decisions on the board, how it's going to affect the rest of the shareholders, both positive and negative. No one's perfect, but I believe that's one of the skills you need to have. Also, I'm also a building president. Leadership, I've already shown my ability to leadership, and I can bring that also to the board myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Lynette Wright.
So I am going to go off something that Monique said, which is that you need people that are going to work on this board. You need people that are actually going to be able to produce results of what they're doing and not just be someone that's going to sit down and be a placeholder. I've done that. I currently run 3 committees. I'm also, I think, very professional in the stance that I take, and I'm business oriented, and I think that I kind of echoed that throughout. But I try to balance everything that happens with finance with understanding that there are things that shareholders want, and that return on investment might not necessarily be financial. That might be that it's just a good thing to do, and it's something that we need to have here. There's more nuance to it. I think I'm also very collaborative. Again, I have multiple people that are on my committees. We're both running for a spot, but Monique is on the audit committee with me. And I've enjoyed having her because we get stuff done that day. Try to move the needle more than anything else and make sure that this community is safe. I think, to a degree, maybe too much so, I'm very logical. I like to have things on paper. I like to see proof. I like to see that there's order to something. I enjoy deadlines to make sure that this is not something similar to what Mr. Leslie had expressed, that it's like, oh, well, it's on paper. The question is, okay, so what day is this due? When is this getting done? To make sure that we are actually not only in budget, but that we're on time so that we can serve the community properly.
Thank you, Lynette. And Nero Graham is going to finish up this question. Your skills.
Yes. I'll be bringing to the board of my experience is that been president of a housing company, my own housing company, for over 10 years. And being the president, you have to have a little finance knowledge, and you have to be able to deal with the tenants and be able to listen to each and every one of them. Also, I bring my experience of getting youth and people together, bringing them together, building them stronger. As I witnessed already at buildings meetings, is that it's not here. My direct order will be hit the ground running to bring people together. Make it unity, make them feel like they, well, not make them feel like they have a voice. Let them know that they are the bosses and we happen to work for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Nero Graham. We're going to switch it up now. I'm going to switch it up. The question is going to be, hold on, trying to decide which one. I'm going to give the question, and whoever puts their hand up first will be next, because now it's getting a little mushy as far as who gets to go first and who ends up last, right? So the question is going to be, a shareholder submitted this question, saying, since the only way you get anything done as a board director is through resolutions, what resolution would you propose as the next year, either as a returning director or as a brand new director? What resolution would you like to put forth? Hands up, whoever wants to start, and then we're going to go from that person on. And it's going to be semi-lightning. Semi-lightning, just think of it, give me the name, 30 seconds. And Monique has taken the bait.
I want to continue to chair the insurance committee and work on affordability with managing our insurance costs.
Okay. Andrew, thank you, Lanique. Andrea? Oh, just lightning, so 30 seconds or less.
We have a number of disabled persons here, and we don't actually, as a board, address some of the issues that are right here in need of, and I would propose a resolution that we address them.
Thank you, Andrea. 30 seconds or less. What would be your first resolution? Idalia Reyes. This is going in the same order of the first person who put their hands up. So you can blame Monique for you being first. Okay. Okay, you can pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yadira?
I would propose a transparency, efficiency, and cost stabilization initiative, primarily to focus on these three things, right? We want to lower costs, improve repairs, and increase our communication. So that would be my wish list resolution coming in as a board director.
Thank you, Yadira. Aaron Carnegie. And you can pass and we'll even go back to.
I would ask for a resolution to seriously consider using the Yellow Schoolhouse as a youth center or youth young adult center for the community.
Thank you, Aaron. Lynette Wright.
Just for instance, is it lightning round or I have a minute?
It's a lightning round. It's a 4:45.
Oh.
We started late. We have cake is waiting. So we're doing a lightning round, 30 seconds. Just tell me the resolution you would like or pass it on.
Off the top of my head, again, this is going to be both an interesting question or answer, but it would be more resolutions towards the audit the situation that we have, which tells you where there are problems in the organization. And for too long, audits kind of get done, they don't have a timeline, and that tells you, or tells the board what you're supposed to know. Because we don't go back to them necessarily all the time in the way that we should, and follow up on older things, there are things that tend to be unresolved. But it's good for the safety of community and it's good for business practice overall.
Thank you, Lynette. Nero Graham, or you can.
Mine will be resolution.
A resolution.
We know it's broke already, the call center. That's what will fix.
More specific.
Well, call center, other than having people to wait online for an hour and a half and wait for a call back, 2 hours and never come back. Also, with more facilities that repairs, you can schedule exactly. They give you a window and they never shows up. The key happens to be is you need to get that on the
Donnell.
First resolution would be definitely for the youth center, and we could construct it in a way that the whole cost should be lower for them.
Thank you. Keith.
To piggyback off my colleague Darnell, the first resolution would be to identify, well, that would be a resolution, but to utilize the yellow schoolhouse space on Baychester and to identify, to have a youth center there.
Thank you, Keith. Michelle. Stop whispering in Michelle's ear. Michelle.
I would bring a resolution to increase, to give money for our solar power project. And try to get money that way, bring money into the community that way, and that's what I would do.
Thank you, Michelle. Would you like to take a stand at it? Idalia Reyes.
I would like to pass a resolution to HCR to see how, do you hear me now? I think my mic is not working. So I would like to pass a resolution to revise the rules and regulations on how HCR deals with subletters, because we all know that that is one of the biggest problems, if not the second biggest problem that we have in Boston.
Thank you. Everybody. Okay, again, since the time is late, I'm sorry we've got a late start, but the tape doesn't want to hear that. We're also going to do meet and greet, so you can ask people anything you want as soon as this is over, and we're gonna get it over with quickly with the next question as soon as I stop stalling and say, all right. Now, 2 questions left. This one is about viewpoints. I have heard a lot of complaints from the cooperators that many board directors do not write sufficient numbers of viewpoints. Some write once in a while, some write almost never, some write never. Right. And some people are, oh my God, they're writing another viewpoint. You know, I write all the time, I like to write. So, would you pledge? I'm not asking for weekly. You can write a viewpoint a week as long as you're not running for election. Would you pledge to write at least 4 viewpoints? That's 1 every quarter. Nope, that's 3. And 4, once a quarter, write 4 viewpoints and spread them out. Don't you write me 4 viewpoints in a row. Would you pledge to do that? Who wants to put a hand up and say it? Darnell is first. I'm sorry. I hope I did. My periphery is pretty good.
Yes, I would pledge that because I want the community to know that I'm so.
That's it. Yes, he would. Who else? Nero. Okay. Even if you've got to get your wife to help you. Who else? Hands up. Aaron.
Yes.
Lynette.
Currently do.
Idalia.
I do it almost every twice a week.
You do it for the building.
I
Janela.
I pledge.
She pledges. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Who didn't pledge? Yes, no, maybe so. 4 a year. Yes? Pledge? Everybody's listening and taking notes, right?
I pledge that I can do it going forward. And
Okay.
for the record, when I was election co-chair last year, I had to write in the paper every single week between March and October when we had a swearing in. So I took a hiatus.
Oh, that was too much information. Thank you.
So there.
Anybody else not answer? Keith?
I pledge, but I think the work is important.
No,
Not just
no,
writing
no,
about
no one pledged that.
I agree.
Anybody else not? And Michelle pledges?
I've written at least 4 articles every time.
Thank you, at least 4, at least 4.
And I'm
Spread out.
trying to write, and I love writing, so you can always count on my viewpoints.
Okay. And the last question of the day is from a cooperator. It's going to be, again, a lightning round, a cooperator who's in this room. She feels that, it used to be cleaner around the peripheries of our buildings. She is noticing it getting a little grungier than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. I don't know when she moved in. The question is, do you agree? And if you do, is there anything you think we can do? I agree it's filthy. I think it's pretty good. What do you say? Hand up. Monique.
So I agree that it's getting a little bit ditchy. What I think we should do is have a neighborhood cleanup as part of promoting shareholder engagement. I think we could every spring do a community spring cleanup day, maybe one in the fall and one in the spring. Michelle Marbury and I participated in spring cleanup in Section 5.
Next. Aaron, next. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought. Come on, you're losing the 30 seconds. Come on. Lynette?
Sure, so, yes, I believe the conditions have changed. I don't necessarily want community cleanup because we have people that are supposed to do that and it's not that. But I do agree that if we're getting notorious complaints, those are things that need to be documented because that's where you see where there's real issues and then you're able to solve those issues. But you can't do it if you don't say it or see it.
Thank you, Lynette. Nero?
Yes, I agree to that. Also, I think what's going on too is that we have to get staff that they have to keep the place clean. And also to supervision who's supposed to be following up to make sure it's done correct.
Very good, Nero.
That's a true look, right? We, building 26 and 28 got together and we did a cleanup in the whole community, which put it out. Guess what? About maybe 20 people showed up. And if I see something happening, which it does, I call it in. Again, pick up the phone and report it, right?
Wonderful, thank you. Anybody else? Michelle?
There's a balance that has to happen. The cleanups are nice, but we pay good money as shareholders to have our place maintained. So when I see something like that, I'm on the phone, and I'm gonna stay on the phone, and I would advise all of you to join me and my team now, and stay on the phone to make sure we get what we paid for.
Okay, thank you. Anybody who did not answer? Andrea?
I think there's a double-sided issue because, yes, there is some more stuff laying on the floor, but there are shareholders who also drop stuff that they should take to our garbage can. So it's a double-sided thing. Remember that we live here and that we shouldn't be doing that, even though we do have staff that's working. We go to the commercial spaces now, get charged, can't charge it. So we should be, I see there's supermarkets, there are receipts on the floor. So our maintenance staff should be doing some more in reference to that, but it's a double-sided.
Thank you, Andrea. Anybody not answer? Thank you. Maria.
I echo the sentiments of Andrea as well. I think it's a twofold situation, not only with maintenance. I think, yes, there is some room for improvement. However, we also have to be accountable ourselves as shareholders in holding ourselves accountable by being those examples. If you see something on the floor, pick it up, right? Or report it. But it's a twofold approach, something that we need additional conversation to kind of deep dive.
Thank you, Yamira.
Now, I want to ask everybody, do you agree with that question? Do you love it?